Welcome to the Parenting Tips Podcast. I'm Jeff Reiland, the host of this podcast series. This podcast is about parenting when a parent has depression. It is my sincere hope that parents listening will be inspired to get help for themselves and their children. No one asks for depression. Its causes are complex. You are not alone. You don't have to do the hard work of parenting on your own. Throughout this podcast series, I've advocated for parents to learn new tools to help them to do the important job of being a parent. No one is perfect at this parenting work. We all make mistakes, and we can learn from them. In the words of Maya Angelou that are so often invoked in this podcast series, do the best you can until you know better. Then, when you know better, do better. I hope the tips and strategies in this episode and in the other episodes from this podcast will help you to know better. Then you can start to do better. Thank you. If you are just tuning into this episode on parenting with depression, I highly recommend you include episode 59, Parenting with Mental Illness or Addictions, in your listening and learning experience. Even though there are big differences between the illnesses described in this series, there is so much overlap in terms of what a parent can say and do to help their child or children to be the best possible parent. In addition, episode 59 contains some of the best resources for parents and for children that are linked in the show notes. According to the data from the National Institute of Health, each year there are an estimated 7.5 million adults who are parents, and they live with depression, and they also have a child under the age of 18 living with them. Those estimates calculate that at least 15 million children live with a parent who struggles with depression. Putting it into focus, 1 in 3 children live in a home where a parent struggles with either depression or anxiety. We will discuss parenting with anxiety in the next episode. And while depression can affect both men and women, 1/3 of women in childbearing and child-rearing years will have symptoms of depression. Moms are especially vulnerable to having depression. For parents, the symptoms of depression include having depressed mood, wanting to withdraw, not getting good sleep or wanting to sleep all the time, lack of motivation, not wanting to do anything, or a loss of joy in doing the things that you once found fun or meaningful in the past, a sense of hopelessness, feeling guilty, irritability, being angry with others and angry with yourself for not being able to do the things or not being able to do them well, being self-critical, resulting in lowered self-esteem and self-confidence, feeling lethargic, like walking in mud, difficulty making decisions, even simple ones, having low motivation and energy. This can affect a child socially and emotionally, and just plain not feeling well, being physically exhausted, hurting with aches and GI distress, and sometimes wondering if life is worth living. If suicide is something that you have been considering, please know that your children need you. There is hope and help available. There are many good, safe, and effective treatments available for depression. Please call or text 988, the National Suicide Crisis Line, for help, or talk with your medical provider or mental health professional about where to start to become well. Remember, your children need you. Having depression is tough. And if having depression was not tough enough, depression can sometimes co-occur with other physical and mental illnesses. Chronic medical conditions, addictions, anxiety, and a past history of trauma can all occur with depression. This is a lot to unpack and deal with sometimes, and it can feel overwhelming. Adding the job of parenting to this burden does not make it easier. Sometimes parents who struggle with depression have difficulty finding joy in their experience with parenting their children. It's not your fault. That's the nature of depression. And there's a good chance that your children notice this and they worry. There are several common symptoms that children of parents who suffer from depression and experience. Distance, both physical and emotional, just not feeling as connected or connecting as easily. For example, if one of your symptoms is isolation, your child may notice that when you're home, you're either in your room or mindlessly on your cell phone much of the time. They may not be thinking mom or dad must be depressed, but they know something is off. Your kids may also notice if you're less calm, more irritated, and being angry at the smallest things, dropping the ball, like forgetting tasks and dates that add more stress. For young children, they may be both confused and concerned about why a parent is withdrawn or tired. They may take it personally and they think they've done something wrong. They may get mad. In fact, they may notice that they are more likely to get attention when they act up. This thinking and the cycle that follows can be destructive for parents and children. When a parent is depressed, children often spend more time on technology, the proverbial new babysitter, watching television, YouTube, playing video games. Or children may become parentified. They may take over parenting duties like some of the chores and taking care of younger siblings. It's important that children learn how to help out, to learn how to do chores, and to help siblings when needed, but not to take over and carry those burdens as their jobs. When this happens, kids can miss out on just being kids, playing, learning, having fun. There are many great steps you can take to turn the situation around and make it better for yourself and for your child or your children. The first step is to get help for yourself. Only about half of all adults with depression receive the care they need to help them manage their depression. Getting help presents its own challenges. It takes time and effort to find resources, to talk to a therapist, to try medications. Whatever tools you choose to manage your depression, just know that it's worth it. For you, for a better quality of life, for your relationship with your children, and for your children and their future. Overcome that sense of guilt and shame. This disorder, like each of the mental disorders or addictions we discuss in this series of episodes, should be treated like any other medical illness. You did not ask for it. You did not cause it. It is not your fault. But you can do something about it. Talking with others about depression is like shining a bright light in a dark place. You discover that you are not alone. You can learn new ways to combat depression symptoms. You can learn to challenge negative thoughts. You can feel better about yourself as a person and as a parent. You can tell your children about your depression. There's a difference in what information you share with young children and with older children. It depends on their age and developmental level. Keep it simple. Give it a name. Depression. You can say that you have days when you feel sick and have a hard time doing anything. If your child has ever been sick and had some bug that made them feel awful, they may better understand what you're talking about. You can say that everyone has days like this, but sometimes your days when you have this can last a lot longer. You can also share what they can do to help and what you're going to do to get better. It is important to share that when you struggle with depression, it is not their fault. As children get older, into grade school, it's helpful to have a plan for what they can do while you're trying to take care of yourself. Who are the adults that can help out? What are the activities and tasks that can give them a sense of structure and consistency during those rough patches for you? Have check-ins each day or several times each week that can encourage you and your child to talk about how both of you are feeling. When talking with your teenager, it is okay to be more open about your depression. There's a hereditary risk factor to depression. You did not ask for it. Your child may also inherit that genetic risk of experiencing depression as well. You are in an excellent place to prepare them. Many parents who look back on their own childhood or teen years can describe feeling alone, confused, and sad and not knowing what was going on. Think of how powerful it would be for your tween or teen to have some knowledge about this for themselves. If you are concerned about your child or teenager struggling with depression, talk with their medical provider about it. Medication is not the only solution for managing depression symptoms in childhood or teen years. While it may be helpful, there are many lifestyle choices. Being physically and socially active, feeling connected to family and friends, having very limited social media and recreational screen time in general, and having positive self-esteem. Each of these are protective factors that can help tweens and teens. Try to maintain routines and structure at home. Making lists of routines, like the morning and evening routines, can help both you and your child create a sense of organization and achievement as you look back on the day and see what you've accomplished. Using pictures for very young children can be useful as a visual prompt. Your child only needs to look at the picture list on the wall of the bathroom or the refrigerator to know what is next in their routine. Making additional lists of activities like those discussed in episode 15, creating activity menus for managing screen time, can also help you guide your child or children in their activities throughout the day. and take that burden off of you if you don't have the energy to do this. It can also help your child or children develop their skills for planning and problem solving and independent play. It really does take a village to raise children. Think about the adults in your life and in your child's life who can help out. Step in when you're struggling to give you a break, or give your child some additional opportunities for activities such as going to the park or library when you don't have the energy or the time, and you need to do other things. Remember, depression doesn't just affect parenting. It can affect everything you do. Reassure your child that they are going to be okay. Your depression is not their fault. You will love them and will always love them no matter what they do. Try to find time to be present and provide nurturing experiences. Snuggling while reading, hugs and kisses on transition at bedtime or to school or daycare. Encourage your child to talk about their feelings. Feelings are not good or bad, they just are. Sometimes children can have big emotions and they need help sorting them out. This can be hard when your own emotions feel like they're frozen or all jumbled up. Helping your child understand their emotions can help them stay calm. Check out some of the episodes in the Parenting Tips podcast series that give you additional tools for helping your child self-regulate and problem solve. Look for future episodes on creating routines and managing emotions. Have an action plan. Having an action plan that you and your child develop can make it easier for you and for them, whether you're having a difficult day or a difficult week. This plan can include a list or a menu of things that they can do in the house or the yard when you're not feeling well. It can include a list of friends or other people that they or you can call on to help in keeping them active. It can include a list of people that your child can talk with about how they're feeling. Be sure to add a regular check-in time for you and your child or your children to connect about how each of you is doing. There is an excellent resource on this topic, Parenting and Depression, from the Canadian Centre on Addiction and Mental Health. It's included in the show notes of this link. This link identifies common questions that children often ask parents about their depression and answers that you may want to consider when talking with your children about depression. Also, please consider checking out the Temple University Collaborative Parenting with Mental Illness links in the show notes on episode 59. To summarize, depression is exhausting. Parenting is exhausting. If you are a parent who struggles with depression, get help. Talk to your medical provider. Expand your social supports. Take care of yourself. Talk to your children about your depression and let them know it's not their fault. Help your child identify things they can do at home when you're feeling tired. Thank you for tuning in and considering this parenting topic. I hope this information added to your growing toolbox of parenting your child or children. Please consider exploring other topics in this series. Remember, no one parenting tool can do everything. We need many tools to become the best parents for our children. Your children's future depends on you and the time and effort you invest in them today.